Hey, welcome to Let's Grow Together with Kalyan, Shruti and Richa. ये पॉडकास्ट सीरीज बनाया ही गया है टू लर्न फ्रॉम द इंडस्ट्री एक्सपर्ट्स. ये ट्विटर स्पेस सीरीज को पॉडकास्ट में कन्वर्ट किया गया है सो एवरीथिंग इज रॉ एंड अनफिल्टर्ड. You will hear the audience asking questions to the guest as well. कि ये podcast series is going to be super insightful. So come with an open mind and I promise you बहुत कुछ सीखने मिलेगा. So let's start the podcast in 3, 2, 1. हेलो एवरीवन. थोड़ा सा आज के स्पेस की रेलेवेंसी बताता हूँ सबको. तो स्टडी इट वाज फाउंड दैट कि ओवर ईटिंग इज 3 times मोर रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर डेथ देन मैल न्यूट्रिशन. तो ओवरऑल ओवर ईटिंग की वजह से ज़्यादा इश्यूज आ रहे हैं लाइक हार्ट के जो डिजीजेस है, कैंसर्स है एंड मेनी अदर्स. राइट, ओवर ईटिंग बिलोंग्स टू द वेस्टर्न वर्ल्ड कंट्रीज एंड माल न्यूट्रिशन बिलोंग्स टू द थर्ड वर्ल्ड कंट्रीज. नाउ इंडिया भी एक पॉइंट पे पहुंच गया है जहाँ पे पीपल हैव अ लॉट ऑफ फूड अराउंड देम. We literally have food all around us, and the idea of going out also involves eating out, right? So hamara pura about the everything, like even if we go on vacation, even if we go out, everything revolves around eating more and more food, more and more delicious food. And this is why the space is super important. So aaj hum baat karenge how we can fix our diet, and we can lead a healthy life, and hopefully कि ये स्पेस कुछ ना कुछ हेल्प करे किसी ना किसी तरीके से लोगों को. एंड द मोटिव ऑफ द स्पेस इजंट टू मेक यू हेट फूड और अवॉइड इट. क्योंकि अगर आपकी मन पसंदीदा मोमोज है या समोसे हैं, आई डोंट वांट देम टू कम इन योर ड्रीम्स. बट द पॉइंट हियर इज कि इस स्पेस से हम ये समझने की कोशिश करेंगे कि क्या हम एक हेल्दी रिलेशन बना सकते हैं विद द फूड दैट वी ईट, एंड वी कैन अंडरस्टैंड द बेसिक्स ऑफ मैक्रोज, पोर्शन साइज, माइंडफुल ईटिंग. ठीक है, तो बहुत बेसिक रखेंगे, बहुत बेसिक होगा ये स्पेस. एंड इवन इफ कोई मम्मियाँ सुन रही होगी इस स्पेस को तो वो भी बोलेंगे कि वाओ, अमेजिंग अमेजिंग स्पेस. ठीक है, सो आई विल गेट स्टार्टेड विथ माय टू अमेजिंग को होस्ट. सबसे पहले श्रुति. श्रुति से शुरुआत करते हैं. तो श्रुति, हाउ इज योर लाइफ? एंड ऑल्सो यू आर ट्वीटिंग अ लॉट अबाउट AI. सो क्या AI लोगों को, ह्यूमंस को रिप्लेस कर देगा? व्हाट डू यू थिंक?
Hi Kalyan, my life is going great, and yes, I'm tweeting a lot about AI because I definitely believe a lot in the artificial intelligence and its future. It is definitely not at all going to replace us humans क्योंकि मतलब possible ही नहीं है. Definitely वो हमारे काम को, बहुत सारी चीज़ों को efficient बना देगा. जैसे मैं content create करती हूँ, marketing से related मुझे काफ़ी मतलब help मिलती है definitely बहुत सारी चीज़ों में. बट हाँ, मतलब जो मेरा काम है, जो मेरी क्रिएटिविटी है, जो मैं जैसे करती हूँ, या फिर ऐसे बहुत सारे लोग हैं, जैसे बहुत सारे लोग ये भी बोलते हैं कि टीचर्स को रिप्लेस कर सकता है बिकॉज़ ऐसी बहुत सारी एडटेक टेक्नोलॉजीज़ और कंपनीज़ आ गई हैं मार्केट में. बट लेट्स थिंक, जब कोई स्टूडेंट होता है, उसको जब कोई हम पढ़ाते हैं चीज़ें और उसको चीज़ें समझ नहीं आ रही, तो वो एआई नहीं समझाएगा या फिर उसके साथ सिम्पैथाइज़ नहीं कर सकता, मार्क्स कम आ रहे हैं तो डेफिनिटली एआई तो रिप्लेस नहीं करेगा ह्यूमन्स को. बट हाँ, हमारे काम को एफिशिएंट ज़रूर बना देगा और मुझे बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग लगता है ये फ़ील्ड. तो मैं मतलब आई एम एन इंजीनियर, तो मुझे डेफ़िनेटली बहुत ज़्यादा इंटरेस्टिंग लगता है. तो बहुत सारी नई चीज़ें आ रही हैं, मैं सीखती रहती हूँ एंड आई ट्राई कि मैं सबके साथ शेयर भी कर सकूँ सो दैट others who are interested in this thing can like stay aware and learn from it. That's it.
अरे मैं बताऊँ, मैंने ना रिसेंटली एक पोस्ट भी देखा था एंड इट वाज
हाँ.
अबाउट एआई. तो उसमें ऐसा था कि टू रिप्लेस मार्केटर्स विद एआई, क्लाइंट्स वुड नो कि हाउ टू ब्रीफ देम एक्यूरेटली.
एक
सो वी
मिनट
आर
एक मिनट एक मिनट, श्रुति श्रुति, कैन यू स्विच ऑफ योर माइक? हाँ रिचा बोलो.
या तो मैंने एक जोक पढ़ा था कि फॉर एआई टू रिप्लेस अस, so to replace marketers with AI, clients would have to be, briefing us perfectly, which is not possible. Clients don't brief perfectly, so it is not possible.
यस, आई एग्री
They
टू
keep
दैट.
on giving some changes, no?
वो नहीं होने
आज
वाला तो ये भी नहीं होने वाला.
एक्चुअली मैं एक चीज़ बताऊँ, मेरी आज एक कॉल हुई थी एक क्लाइंट के साथ. मतलब ही रीच्ड आउट एंड सो आई वाज़ हैविंग अ डिस्कवरी कॉल अभी 1 घंटे पहले की बात है ये. और उन्होंने मुझे ऐसे क्लियरली बोला कि आई एम लुकिंग फॉर समबडी जिसको मुझे कुछ समझाना ना पड़े और वो सारी चीज़ें कर ले खुद ही एंड ऑल दैट. एंड आई थॉट लाइक यू आर द राइट फिट, दैट्स व्हाई आई रीच्ड आउट टू यू. अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स ही सेड. सो मतलब ही इज़ वेरी सीनियर एंड a lot of people are out there जो बिल्कुल भी नहीं चाहते हैं, स्पेशली क्लाइंट्स जो नहीं चाहते कि हाँ हमें बहुत ज़्यादा एफर्ट डालना पड़े, तो डेफिनेटली रिचा तुम जिस मीम की बात कर रही हो मैंने देखा था वो, एंड हाँ इट इज़ वेरी ट्रू। ये
ओके,
पॉसिबल है।
सो बैक टू रिचा। रिचा, अनफॉर्चुनेटली मैं को होस्ट नहीं बना पा रहा तुम्हें, क्योंकि स्पेस में कुछ तो इशू आ रहा है, कुछ ग्लिच आ रहा है, जिसकी वजह से वो बोल रहा है ऑलरेडी टू को होस्ट एग्जिस्ट। तो एनी विच वेज, तुम एज अ स्पीकर रहोगी आज के दिन। हाउ इज योर लाइफ, एंड अपार्ट फ्रॉम दिस स्ट्रगल और क्या स्ट्रगल चल रहा है तुम्हारी लाइफ में, ये बताओ।
I'm happy to be in this space, co-host हो चाहे नहीं हो, क्या फर्क पड़ता है. But then yeah, life is good. Friday आने वाला है as usual, Thursday है. I'm happy about it, and a lot of things are going on. I am trying to shift to Mumbai next month. I'm happy about it. I'm excited, thrilled about it, and it is going amazing. That's it. मेरा आज एक मीम वायरल गया है, उस पे 2000 लाइक्स आ गए, तो मैं बस वही अब देखती जा रही हूँ बार 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 बार. दिस इज वन डोपामीन फॉर मी अभी के लिए, बाकी इट इज परफेक्ट.
वाह, मेरा भी एक रील वायरल जा रहा है, सो आई एम आल्सो वेरी हैप्पी. And okay, so now to our amazing special host, Suhana Siddika, who is a clinical dietitian and has a MSc in food, nutrition, and dietetics. She talks about PCOS, diabetes, weight loss, and overall health. अपने ट्विटर के ट्वीट्स भी बड़े अमेजिंग, बड़े इंस्पायर होते हैं उनके. So welcome, Suhana. And also, is it your first space?
Hi, Kalyan. Thank you so much. No, this is not my first space. I have done few spaces in the past, but this is my first space. So
Okay. Are you excited about this space?
yeah, definitely.
Okay. तो ठीक है, we'll get started. ठीक है, and the first question that we have is basically, it's a true or false question, and we are gonna tell you about certain habits, and you have to tell me कि tell us basically कि वो true है या false है, and also provide explanation for it. ठीक है, तो the first question that I have for is कि uh, हम खाने के साथ जब भी स्वीट खाते हैं, कोई भी मीठा चीज खाते हैं, तो इज इट द व्हाट इज द बेस्ट टाइम टू हैव इट, लाइक इज इट पोस्ट अ मील और इन बिटवीन अ मील, सो दैट हम जो वो ग्लूकोज स्पाइक है उसको कंट्रोल कर सके, जो ग्लाइसेमिक इंडेक्स है ऑफ द मील ओवरऑल उसको कंट्रोल कर सके. सो ऑफ कोर्स शुगर इज अ नो नो, बट देन इफ अगर हम खाना ही वाले हैं, तो व्हाट इज द बेस्ट टाइम टू हैव इट, पोस्ट मील और इन बिटवीन मील और एनीथिंग एल्स?
Yeah, so when it comes to sweets, I think one should go for it once they have completed the meal and they're looking for a dessert kind of a thing. That's okay. People do that. I don't have any problem with it. But the real problem arises when you kind of have a larger amount. So portion size is something very important when you're having any food, no matter how healthy or bad it is for your health. So you should have the sweets post meal. So yeah, having um, sweets in the post meal is a great option. Like this, so this I'll say to true. But again, you have to think about the portion size, and if possible, try to avoid having sweets as a whole rather than if there's some occasions or even a party or an event. But other than that, try to avoid it as much as possible because on the introduction, you have talked about how obesity is rising so much in India and abroad, and it's a Western concept. So, keeping that in mind, I think restricting your sugar intake, be it in the form of sweets or any other form, is not something which is recommended on a daily basis. But once in a while, it's a good thing to have it, like because you have to feed your taste buds, right?
Yes, I agree to that. Thank you so much for that. And Richa, you wanna go next?
Yeah, Kalan, I'm really sorry. Is my voice echoing?
No, it's better. Go ahead.
Okay. Sohana, I have this question from you that कुछ लोग बोलते हैं कि one should drink water in between meals, and some prefer not to drink water. They wait for 30 minutes or some time after they are done eating meals. So, what do you prefer? Should we drink water in between or not? I mean, what is the best according to science?
So our body is like very smart. Okay, we have to consider that. So my immediate advice would be to drink water when you feel thirsty. But since you have asked about post and pre-meal kind of a thing, I think going for a pre-meal, one glass of water, like 30 minutes before, kind of prevents you from eating more and overeating. So you can do that. But in between also, if you feel like if you feel thirsty, you can have it. The end of the meal also you can have it. It's when you feel like having it. So there's no science or no studies that contributes that you should have glass of water post meal or pre meal. So we don't have any research on that. And as an evidence based nutritionist, I would say drink water when you feel thirsty, no matter you're in between a meals or post a meals. But if you ask me, like, is it which one would you choose out of this three? I would say go for a glass of water 30 minutes before having a meal because that will stop you from overeating, and we don't want to overeat, right? So that is something you should keep in mind.
हाँ, ये मैं तो कर लूंगी पर मम्मा चिल्लाती है कि भूख इससे ही मर जाएगी, खाना तो खाती भी नहीं है तू, ऐसा वैसा। मुझे प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, but also I've heard this one theory, and they say that when you drink water in between food, the digestive juices they somehow dilute, and then your digestion is not proper and stuff. मतलब I have heard this theory, and I don't know how much true it is. So what? How do you want to comment on it?
No, there's no such thing that if you're having a glass of water. See, that will happen once you're having like a gallon of water in between the meals. But since you're having like one glass in between or maybe one sip of it, that's totally fine. And talking about the HCl in your stomach, the digestive juices in your stomach, I think they're strong enough to combat one glass of water because if you feel thirsty, you might have uh, so it's totally fine if you have it in between. There's no such studies. We don't have strong evidences against it. So it's totally fine. And talking about your gharwale and your mother, see, I'm a dietitian and even if I go to my mom and say that you shouldn't do this, this is not correct, this is not a sign, she will say, मुझे मत सिखा, सबसे पहले मैं आई हूँ, so listen to me. So I'm totally it's a thing in everyone's household, so we can't do anything about it. But if you go from the evidence perspective, it's fine if you have it in between.
Also, I think I belong to Odisha, so there is a one delicacy that we most of us have, which is pakal bhat, right? And it is rice with water. ठीक है? So that's one delicacy that is very famous in Odisha. And उसमें तो
Mm-hmm.
राइस के साथ ही वाटर चाहते हैं क्योंकि वो राइस वाटर में ही वाटर के अंदर ही होता है, तो बेसिकली इट्स काइंड ऑफ अ डिश यहाँ पे आप पानी भी पीते रहते हो और खाते भी रहते हो, सो आई डोंट थिंक
Mm-hmm.
वो वाला फर्क पड़ता है इन बिटवीन अगर आप खा रहे
Exactly.
हो तो या दैट्स द थिंग.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm from Assam, so I think you're talking about poita bhat, which is
यस
जो
यस
पहले दिन का जो खाना होता है, you just soak it in water and have it in the morning. It's a
करेक्ट
good
करेक्ट
source of probiotics, so it's very good if you're having.
करेक्ट डिफरेंट स्टेट डिफरेंट नेम्स बट हाँ वही चीज है वो.
अरे I saw
Yeah.
this on in a reel. हाँ, that girl वो रात में overnight soak करते हैं and the next day you उसने क्या it was potatoes and chopped onions and stuff and green chilies and a little of oil. That reel, right?
Yeah, that's
वही था
what.
ना?
Yeah, that's what is
हाँ.
called poita bhat. Yeah. But
Okay.
again, the quantity matters there because rice is also carbs. You're also having potato, there's also carbs. The first thing as a breakfast, I don't recommend. But since we have grown up having that, having it once in a while as a part of lunch or something is great. But it should not be the first thing that you're having in morning.
ट्रू. सो सुहाना, मैं आपसे ये पूछना चाहती हूँ, इंटरमिटेंट फास्टिंग करनी चाहिए या नहीं करनी चाहिए?
Okay, very nice question. I get this on a regular basis. Again, that depends on person to person. I'll give you my example and one of my friend, if you know her, Brunei. So, for me, intermittent fasting works really great. But again, there are people for whom that doesn't work. So, when I say people for whom that doesn't work, I mean people who are diabetic and they cannot go for like 16 to 18 hours of fasting. But if a normal person like you and me who have a sedentary lifestyle, so intermittent fasting can work really great. And one more thing I would mention is if you have PCOS or in diabetes, uh, once in a while, like having 6 to 8 hours of intermittent fasting is good, but prolonged ones is something that you must avoid because if you are a diabetic patient, it might lead to hypoinsulinemia and it might not work for some. Some have also seen weight gain in the process, so it varies from person to person. You just have to try it out and see if that works.
Okay. Next question would be drinking milk at night. Is it a good practice or not? And also, I've heard somewhere कि अगर आप घी ऐड करते हो on top of a milk, तो वो digestion के लिए बहुत अच्छा होता है. So is it true? And what is your take on drinking milk at night?
See, सुबह को if you're also drinking milk, it has the same protein. Casein protein उसमें सुबह में भी होगा रात में भी होगा. So it's nothing that it's the same thing. The ingredient doesn't change, the nutrients doesn't change, and your stomach also doesn't change. And so you could drink it any time of the day. You're having milk, that's totally fine. And so you should have it. But ऐसा नहीं है कि you should not have it at night, have it in the morning. So that's not true. You should have it when you feel like having it. Now, coming to the ghee part, it's good. Yeah, it helps in aids in digestion, and since ghee is fat, so pairing fat with protein is also and calcium is good. So you can do that.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's a lot of glitch in on पता नहीं क्या हो रहा है मेरे ट्विटर को भगवान जाने. Okay, so being a really, really, really good fan of chocolates, like I love chocolates. So मुझे हमेशा
Mm-hmm.
से लोग बोलते हैं कि one should not eat too much of chocolate. But then I like it so much. So how do you look at chocolates? I mean, डार्क चॉकलेट्स बहुत ही ज़्यादा बुरे होते हैं हेल्थ के लिए या सम ऑफ देम से दैट डार्क चॉकलेट्स अच्छे भी होते हैं फॉर हार्ट तो
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the two types of chocolates that you mentioned, the milk chocolates and the other one is the dark chocolate. But again, the same principle applies the portion that you're having. So one bite a day is fine. It's good for your heart also, like cardiac health as well. But if you're having it in larger amount, let's say because I also love having chocolate. So whenever I have that feeling and the craving to have a chocolate, what I do is I do not end up having one bite on it. I go for like more bites. So that's something we must try to restrict and limit to some extent. And but once in a while, having dark chocolate is fine. I would recommend that too. That is good for your heart as well. And is in my meal plans also for my clients, I include at least one day where they have dark chocolate or maybe something they truly love. So that's something we can pair it that way. But again, on a regular basis, I won't recommend having chocolates because that's bad for your teeth. And at the same time, it has a lot of added sugar, so which might lead to insulin resistance, and you don't want that.
थैंक यू सो मच फॉर दैट. अभी हम अपने नेक्स्ट एडिशन पे बढ़ेंगे एंड दिस इज जनरल क्वेश्चन. ठीक है. अब जैसे कि मैंने आपको घी के बारे में भी पूछा था कि जो मिल्क के ऊपर कैसा रहता है. नाउ when it comes to ghee, it is considered as one of the best cooking options, right? But it is super
Mm-hmm.
costly, and that is why most of us use cooking oils. There is something
Mm-hmm.
called as a kachi ghani oil, which is a cold pressed oil. अब
Mm-hmm.
मतलब बेसिकली व्हाट आई वांट टू नो इज कि what kind of oil type is the best to have, and also when should one use ghee and when should one use oil, या फिर सिर्फ घी में बना रहे हैं तो घी में ही बनाना चाहिए. Something you want to add to this?
Yeah, yeah. I get this question like from so many of my patients as well. So Kachigani is something that I recommend to all my clients, and I have a very strong reason behind that. Ghee is very healthy. Okay, ghee is very good for our health. It's good for this healthy fats. But when you're cooking it, so if you any of you have has a background in chemistry, biochemistry, or life sciences, you might know that when you heat saturated fat and clarified fats, it turns into some compounds which is not very good for us. So, but again, there's one more thing that I would like to mention here is that ghee has a very higher like boiling point and heating point as well. So you should not deep fry using ghee. You should use kachi ghani in there, but you simply you're going for normal cooking. जैसे कि पराठे के ऊपर you're applying it or making paratha or something, then it's totally fine. But if you're doing deep fry, avoid ghee. Do it in kachi ghani. But kachi ghani is a very great option for oils if you're looking for that.
Okay,
Also,
and what? या सो आई जस्ट वांट टू नो कि अगर जैसे आपने बताया कि कच्ची घनी इज अ गुड ऑप्शन, आई जस्ट वांट टू नो कि
mhm,
जो ब्रांड्स हमें मिलते हैं, जो हम खरीदते
mhm,
हैं एवरीथिंग, सो दे जस्ट मेंशन कोल्ड प्रेस ऑयल एंड दे हैव अ लॉट ऑफ
mhm,
ingredients that we don't understand. So how should one
mhm,
choose a right kind of oil if you would like to add something to that?
Okay, yeah. So see, there are so many brands in the market, and do not want to mention, but so many brands sell like adulterated forms. So it's very important to read the label. So even though we do not understand every single thing, but we must avoid something that has like unsaturated, or let's say more like different types of. If you look up to a different, they're adding different types of emulsifiers and a lot of other products that we include in it. So once you Google that and look at the symptoms, like if there's one thing that you will very feel is very funny thing that I noticed, everything that you Google it up, that will lead to like can cause cancer. So apart from the cancer thing, if you find any other thing on Google when you're just checking the composition and ingredients, go for it. So it's very important to learn how to read labels. And there's a lot of myth, I think, regarding the oil part of the thing. People, I think there's a new oil in the market which is cholesterol free oil. I don't know if you have heard about it or not.
Yes, I've heard about it. Yeah.
Okay, so would you purchase it? Like a very random question from my end.
I mean, I don't really understand that thing, so मैं तो नहीं खरीदूंगा. Like we
Mm-hmm.
go for cold press oil only, and I'm not sure this cholesterol वाला thing is just hyped क्योंकि बहुत ज़्यादा लोग worried about the health of their heart and everything. So this is what has been thrown around. So I
Okay.
will not be buying that for sure. But yeah, बहुत ज़्यादा marketing होती है उसकी, तो I can see that a lot of people buy them. Yeah.
Okay, so let me give you the information here is that the oils that you get in the market, this pachigani, and those are like vegetable oils. तो वहाँ पे cholesterol होता ही नहीं है. So there is no cholesterol in a cooking oil. Okay, if this is a new information, just take it. There's no cholesterol in kachigani or vegetable oil. So the concept of like cholesterol free oil is another marketing tactic that's in the market. So there's a lot of thing that goes back and behind promoting a product, and people are very conscious about cholesterol. And one more recent study that I was doing in the last week, I guess, yeah. So it has showed that cholesterol does not directly contribute to heart health. Like earlier, we used to think that okay, this is something cholesterol is bad for our health. So there are two types of cholesterol as well: dietary cholesterol and the cholesterol that we have increased levels in our body. So those are also different things. So if let's say there is a food that mentioned dietary cholesterol, and if you're a normal person, you should not just think, okay, this is cholesterol is bad for our body because that's how it's being promoted in the market, but it's not. Those are like two different things. So I know I'm deviating from the topic, but this is something I have learned and heard from so many people that they want to go for the cholesterol free oil because they think that's healthier for their heart, but it's not because kachigani is vegetable oil and there is no cholesterol in it.
No, actually, Suhana, matlab the information which you are giving us right now, definitely it is very important. So, matlab ऐसा नहीं है आप out of topic जा रहे हो, but thank you so much. और ये oil वाली चीज़, I very much agree to this. The same thing is with brown bread and a lot of stuff that we eat on a daily basis. मतलब marketing बहुत ज़्यादा अच्छी की जा रही है and we all are like getting scammed. अच्छा, एक चीज़ और मैं आपसे पूछना चाहती हूँ, जो हम ऑलिव ऑयल कंज़्यूम करते हैं उसमें मतलब लाइक इज़ दैट गुड और इज़ देयर सम अदर प्रॉब्लम विद दैट? मतलब उसे कंज़्यूम डेली बेसिस पे करना चाहिए, सिर्फ़ सैलेड के साथ करना चाहिए या हम जो नॉर्मल फूड बनाते हैं उसमें भी कुकिंग के लिए यूज़ कर सकते हैं? जो कुकिंग ऑलिव ऑयल होता है वो?
Yeah, you can have that. Olive oil is indeed a good option, but again, you should go for the cold press one. But I don't see any problem with the mustard oil as well. Like that's also fine. But one should avoid as much as possible the refined oil, which is not good for you. So try limiting that use. I on YouTube or Instagram, I see a lot of people using refined oil as a part of their cooking procedures. Apart from the refined oil, anything that is cold pressed is good for you. And olive oils, you can use it for cooking as well. But I would say go for the mustard oil if that's something you're comfortable with. And if you're comfortable with olive oil as well, go with that. No issues with that, unless and until it's cold pressed, so it's fine.
Hmm. Understood. Also, Suhana, I would love to hear your insights on how can we make a conscious effort to slow down our eating speed and incorporate few mindful eating practices in our daily lives.
Yeah. So our generation has been very in the rat race. They're running behind everything. We have schools, work, meetings, and a lot of stuff. But when we sit down to eat, what we do is we keep the phone in front of us. We watch Sarabhai versus Sarabhai. This is something I used to do. And a lot of people have some, they watch something while eating. So what happens is when you're doing that, you overeat a lot because you don't know how much you're eating. And even though you have a whole plate of rice or roti, you will still not feel that you have eaten because there's a relationship between our gut and our brain. So the both are related. So when we are focusing on a different thing, we are not looking into like how much we are having it. So that's very important to be very conscious of the food that you're eating. So the top three tips that I would give is do not use any device or don't watch anything, no Netflix, no nothing. Just focus on the food that you're having. And there are a few things that have really worked for my clients is you can ask yourself, okay, who cooked this meal, how your mom cooked it, or maybe you can also think about the process that goes in cooking, and you just be grateful in the moment that something really helps you to focus on what you're doing for the food in your plate. So that really works. Second thing would be you should try to eat you should when you're planning to eat, just don't try to think about anything else. Think about the food that you're having. Is it your favorite food or not? You like it or not? So think about related to food only. So that kind of helps you to be in present in the moment and not focus on something else that might lead to overeating.
ये मुझे करना पड़ेगा बिकॉज़ बिना नेटफ्लिक्स के और बिना तारक मेहता के एपिसोड के मेरे खाना नहीं होता है कुछ भी पूरा। बट देन
हाँ
यार
हाँ, you should try that.
या बिना तारक मेहता के ओल्ड एपिसोड्स के आई थिंक इट इज लाइक चटनी फॉर मी तारक मेहता के ओल्ड एपिसोड्स उसके बिना मेरा ये माँ बोलती है कि वो मेरी चटनी है अच्छा so Hannah, this one question from you. Okay, we all
Yeah,
know
yeah,
that
sure.
omega 3 is very, very important. But then
Mm-hmm.
there are few people like me who are vegetarian. So, fish तो बहुत दूर की बात है. So, how do you think? Like, we should take tablets, or there are other sources for omega 3, or how is it for us being a vegetarian? Am I deficient of omega 3? So, what is the ultimate solution to it?
Okay, so there are few options. I won't say the very good sources of omega 3, but you can include flax seeds in your diet, chia seeds, card also you can have it. So those are the three top broccoli, and you can also go for sprouts. So those are rich in omega 3 fatty acids, but the best ones come from fishes only. So if you can have a like balance between broccoli, sprouts, and then flax seeds and chia seeds, and at the same time have include tablets in your diet because that might happen. And omega 3 is very important for immunity as well. So taking tablets is totally fine, but if you can meet up your recommendation and requirement from the food that I mentioned, that is great. But not everyone can have broccoli on a regular basis or have sprouts, but you can include seeds in your diet as well. One thing that I would like to say here is when you're having oats, I think I might think assume that you have oats as part of your breakfast or maybe something. So you can just top it up with flax seeds, or you can soak chia seeds the night before, and then you can have it as a part of your morning routine. So that's how you can pair it.
Okay, and also that you mentioned sprouts. So the sprouts should have roots or like minimum roots. I mean, I'm like really confused with this thing that how much of roots should a sprout have ideally?
Okay, so do not overcomplicate your relationship with food. That this is healthy or ये ज़्यादा sprouts के roots are getting to be more healthy. It's not. Just soak it overnight and morning you can have it. So that way you don't have to soak it for 2 to 3 days to for its roots to grow. So, but if it has roots also, it's consumable. So no worries on that as well.
Okay. Kalyan,
Yeah, sorry, I'm really sorry. Okay, so we were talking about protein. So एक प्रोटीन का क्वेश्चन जो मेरे को है वो है कि of course there's some called as a whey protein and people take it, but mostly people who go to gym वही लेते हैं whey protein. uh, and do you think it is something for everyone, like everyone can go for a whey protein?
Yeah, so whey protein is basically beginner's protein that we call in medical language. But it has, like, say you're a non-vegetarian, then that's fine. You're having it from your chicken, eggs, and stuff. So that's okay. If you are a non-vegetarian and you're living a sedentary lifestyle, you don't need it. But if you're going to the gym, you might want to start and have your protein requirements met along with having eggs. But if you are a vegetarian, I think it should be a part of your diet and regular eating habits, because as a vegetarian in India, your protein requirements are not met. And even though there's so many vegans who might be offended by this, but vegetable sources are not enough, because you can't have like 20, 100 grams or let's say 200 grams of sprouts a day, or you can't have it funny 200 grams. You can't do it. And they are not complete protein because they lack certain amino acids here and there. So if you are vegetarian, yes, you should have it. And if you are living a very active lifestyle, you should have it. But if you are non-vegetarian and living a sedentary lifestyle, then it will depend on your food habits.
Okay, and what about plant protein? There's a lot of brands who make plant protein. What about that?
Yeah, yeah, that is totally fine. Plant proteins are good as well. There's no differentiation between both of them. But if you want to go for the animal-based protein as well, that is also totally fine, because in the competition of animal-based protein or plant-based protein, the plant-based always wins when we look into the nutritional perspective. But the plant-based ones are not something that you should avoid as well, because if you are a vegetarian, having something is always better than not having something. So, and it's good as well. So that feels the criteria.
Shruti, you want to go next?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Actually, I'm facing some issue. I don't understand. I can't see the space. There's some glitch or something going on. I don't know. So am I audible?
Yes, Sue.
Yeah, yeah, you are.
Yeah, okay, okay, fine. So, Suhana, I would like to ask you that recently we all heard about the camel milk. That like, we were hearing this in news and everywhere कि people are having it. So, and it was also found out that जैसे जो animal milk होता है ना वैसे that is good for consumption. So, do you think is it worth the hype, or like shall we be consuming it? I'm not very sure if it is good for health or not. So I would like to hear your advice on this one.
I mean, if I can add something to this, the camel milk actually picked up because लोगों को ऐसे लगता है. Shruti, can you just switch off your mic? Yeah, thank you so much. So the camel milk actually picked up because लोगों को ऐसा लगता है, and it is also found in studies कि जैसा दूध ये हो, जैसा भी एनिमल हो और उसका जो मिल्क होता है, बेसिकली उस मिल्क से वो काइंड ऑफ प्रोटीन मिलता है जिससे आप फॉर एग्जांपल कैमल मिल्क है तो a baby will be taller, and it will and that because camel is tall, so something like that is there. And it is also found in studies. So that is why camel milk has picked up because बहुत lean होता है वो, milk में ज़्यादा fat नहीं होता, and also it helps the babies to grow taller, and I'm not sure how true is that, but that is why it is sold at a very high price. Amazon baby camel milk is sold at a very high price. So would you like to add something to this, Sana?
Yeah, yeah, and this is something. I have read about it and I feel that very absurd because if we could gain height and a baby could have the height of a camel, won't people who are malnourished would go and eat an elephant, or someone who is looking to lose weight, they might go and have some animal that is very animal meal that is very slim or lean. Um, See, your height basically depends on your genetics. Okay, that can't change it. So no matter how nutritious food that you're having or anything that you are doing, you can't beat your genetics at some point. Like you're having a healthy lifestyle, you're eating good. That is very important. That might prevent what your genetics might bring it to you, but that you cannot just take out the genetics from the whole story. It is there. So at least in terms of height and your how height you will have or how much. There's so many things. Like people also have another thinking that buffalo milk will help in sharp mind. So this is not something that you could do by doing by having a certain milk. So that's not true. It's just a random, and it's very easy to fool the audience, when it comes to nutrition because they will literally believe in everything if you're marketing it very well. So no, just have cow milk or buffalo milk or goat's milk, whatever that you have grown up drinking, because someone who have grown up like drinking cow's milk might not be able to digest the milk of a buffalo or a goat, that whatever you have grown up doing that. So it kind of depends on your food eating habits as well. You just cannot feed me or let's say Shruti or Richa camel's milk and expect us to digest the same way that you do for the milk that we are very acquainted with. So no, it's just overhyped.
That makes sense. And the next question that I have is going to make a lot of people upset because it's around tea and coffee. Because even though we want to have tea and हम चाय को बहुत ज़्यादा प्यार करते हैं, but the ingredients in a typical tea that we get in India is not that good. And that's why while researching, I found a healthy alternative which is called Arjun Chali. Now, what would you recommend? Like, have you obviously you come from Assam, so you know most about tea and everything, and you also know that बहुत अच्छी quality के जो tea होते हैं वो export हो जाते हैं, but what we are left with is a not of great quality and ingredients भी उतने अच्छे नहीं होते. So would you like to add something to this, and what is your alternative for a good tea?
Okay, so how many cup of tea do you have in a day?
I don't have it. मैं नहीं पीता चाय. My mom has like 4 to 5 cups a day, a lot actually, which
Okay,
is
what
yeah.
about Shruti and Richa?
I'll have tea, like morning tea and evening tea because that is one time when I get to gossip with my mother. So tea time
Hmm.
is like important for me. नहीं तो मम्मा पापा से
हाँ.
बात ही नहीं हो पाती है.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So the best tea obviously gets imported. Like when it's a tea season, and if I'm traveling through like Dibrugarh or something where the teas are being made, what happens is half of the tea leaves are already gone. So that left is not a great quality in India or in Assam. Uh, but that doesn't mean that that is from a nutrition perspective is something I'll talk. I'll not talk about the quality that you might see and you might have researched. So, does anybody know, like, do we have any nutrients there? Because from a nutrition perspective, tea is just a beverage and it doesn't hold much of nutritional value in the eye of a nutritionist or in medical science. And it's very high in potassium. Like, if you have someone who has kidney problems or is diabetic, so it's better to limit to 1 to 2 cups. So from a nutrition perspective, it doesn't have a lot of nutrients. So it's just a beverage that people like to have it as a part of their daily routine. And लोगों के तो जान होते हैं चाय. So yeah, try to limit it to 2 cups. But talking about the quality, yeah, the best ones get transported and exported to the outside countries, and we are left out with not the great quality.
Okay, thank you so much for that. And now we'll play a fun rapid round, which is a rapid fire round basically. हम हर space पे एक fun rapid fire round खेलते हैं, and in between the complete space. So I'm gonna ask you questions, and you're gonna respond it very fast, Suhana. And it is also for Shruti and Richa. So we we four will play this game. Okay. So
Yeah.
first rapid fire round thing that I have is Gen Z's words. Okay, Gen Z's जो words use करते हैं उसके मीनिंग क्या होते हैं, ठीक है. सो आई होप यू नो ऑल दोज थिंग्स, बट let me say the first word is bop, bop. What is a bop? Anyone? Shruti, Richa, Suhana?
I already feel old now.
I know these words are really strange, and मुझे भी तभी पता चलता है मेरी रिसर्च के टाइम पे. But what do you think bop, bop means?
I know BRB, BOB, तो I don't know.
Okay. Okay, ठीक है,
Same.
मैं बताता हूँ. चलो, bop, bop is a good song or a album. It's a good song. Bop, ठीक है. It's pop. वैसे. It's a good
Really
song
weird.
basically.
Yeah. I mean, what's up with this Gen Z?
Yeah.
मेरी
Okay, the next
जनरेशन
one.
वाले ये क्यों कर रहे हैं यार, मुझे बता दे कोई. और ये कौन सी मीटिंग में डिसाइड हो रहा है नए वर्ड्स, हमें क्यों नहीं बुलाया जा रहा है वो मीटिंग
ये
में.
उन्हें भी नहीं बुलाया जा रहा है, पता नहीं कौन डिसाइड कर रहा है ये वर्ड्स, पता नहीं. स्ट्रेंज वर्ड्स. एक और है, ठीक है, BOUG which is भाऊजी. भाऊजी, what is भाऊजी? भाऊजी, what do you think
बाबूजी
भाऊजी
मेरा
is?
हाथ छोड़िए, मुझे रास्ते
हाँ,
काटना
आई
है.
विश वो होता, बट नहीं, ये कुछ और है. एकदम ही अपोजिट है एक्चुअली. आई डोंट नो, वेरी वियर्ड. ये सुहाना, वांट
आई
टू गेस
डोंट नो.
व्हाट इज भाऊजी?
I
भाऊजी.
can't think of anything right now. मुझे
ओके.
बाऊजी याद आ रहा है.
हाँ, मुझे भी भाऊजी याद आ रहे हैं, बट भाऊजी मीन्स अ हाई क्लास मेटेरियलिस्टिक पर्सन. मतलब हाई क्लास या मेटेरियलिस्टिक पर्सन जो होते हैं वो भाऊजी है. विच मेक सेंस, राइट? चलो, नेक्स्ट थर्ड वन इज क्लैप बैक. व्हाट इज क्लैप बैक?
To give same energy back. It's
से
just a
व्हाट?
guess, I don't know.
क्या क्या
To
क्या
give
बोलना
the
वापस?
same vibe back.
इनवाइट बैक.
Same vibe.
Same vibe.
Vibe.
No. Clap back is something different. Clap back.
Where
फील.
do you get all these words? मुझे डिक्शनरी चाहिए.
मैं तो इंटरनेट पे खोज रहा था. चलो, क्लैप बैक बताओ, जल्दी जल्दी चलो. श्रुति, यू वांट टू गेस क्लैप बैक?
I think I have heard this word, and probably this means something like जब मतलब किसी ने किसी को कुछ like conversation में कुछ बात होती है तो somebody is responding मतलब ऐसे witty तरीके से instantly. Probably that is what
Hmm.
I'm
Correct,
guessing.
correct, correct. It is actually that. It is swift and witty response to an insult or a critic. Right? अगर कोई तुम्हें insult करता है, तुम फटाक से कुछ और ऐसा बोलते हो, that's a clap back.
You
So
mean comeback?
क्या क्या?
Comeback भी तो वही होता है ना?
हाँ, but पता नहीं, this comeback वही होता है, but they have a different word altogether. So, what about you, Suhana? Are you good with clap back? If somebody insults you, you are quick with "How dare you say me" like that, and you say
No,
something more witty.
I'm someone who will sit in my room and cry about it.
Okay. What about you, Richa?
Yeah, अब हूँ मैं, पहले नहीं थी. Also, while
Okay.
chatting only. In real life, I am like, okay, you can do whatever you want. You can say
I
Hmm.
can't I can't even say no to my clients. Like if they tell me कि ये करो या then I'll be like तो ना कैसे बोलूं? Like I'm that kind of a person.
Hmm. Shruti ka to I know she is not, but still, Shruti, you want to say something like, are you clap back person?
Yes, I am. But in real life, I
Eh?
am like
Okay.
whenever I'm
Okay.
talking to person face to face, हाँ, and I have like that vibe, तो मतलब I don't even think वो हो जाता है.
हमारे सारे क्लैप बैक मोमेंट्स ना फिर ऐसे घर पे आके फिर सोचते हैं, शिट यार, ये बोलना चाहिए था उसको, ऐसा.
ऐसा मेरे साथ
वैसे
पहले
होता है.
था.
तो अभी क्या?
अब नहीं है. अब मैं कर देती हूँ instantly.
नाइस. ओके, savage, savage. ठीक है. Now fourth word is dank, which is very common. Dank. I'm sure Richa knows this. What is DANK?
it's a type of a meme which is very dark, and you know, it is not offensive, it is not disrespectful, yet it is very, it is a smart meme.
Yeah, it is a good internet meme. Is called dank.
Yeah,
Yes, true,
exactly.
true. Next is drip. DRIP. What is drip? सुनने में अजीब लग रहा है, but it is a good word. Yeah.
As a like a dietitian who have been in a medical school, I think मुझे बस वो saline drip ही याद आ रहे हैं अभी.
No.
Can you sexy? I'm not sure.
What did you say? क्या बोला?
Sexy, sexy.
नहीं नहीं ड्रिप. हाँ मतलब कह सकते हो सेक्सी. इट्स ड्रिप का पूरा मतलब ये है कि ट्रेंडी हाई क्लास फैशन, राइट? दैट्स ड्रिप. So if somebody compliments you or a drip personality or drip outfit you have, it's kind of a fashion wala thing. Okay, so that's yeah. Okay, so the next question is abhi the next rapid fire round question is कि scale करना है खुद को 1 to 10 on how good of a driver you are, right? Starting with Shruti. You drive a car. Shruti, how good you are with driving?
Eight,
1 to
eight,
10. 8.
eight.
Okay. Richa, what about you?
I don't drive. I am yet to learn driving, but yeah, I have a scooty. So I
Okay.
can rate 9 out of 10. मैं नाइन्थ
Oh,
क्लास से चला
nice.
रही हूँ तो.
एक्सीडेंट हुआ है कभी?
नहीं, मैं आज तक नहीं गिरी कभी भी.
Wow, nice. What about you, Suhana?
I would rate 8 out of 10.
Oh, nice, cool, good. Okay, next question is fill in the blank. ठीक है? And the question is कि Arjit Singh is starting with Shruti. What is Arjit Singh for you?
Soulful singer. I mean, I don't like hear. मैं गाने नहीं सुनती उनके, but हाँ, मैं soulful singer. ये
Okay.
instant आ रहा है भाई में.
What about you, Richa?
He's a humble person. I saw this one concert where he was like really
नहीं
humble.
उनके उनके बारे में नहीं बताना. You have to tell what Arjit Singh stands for you in your life. क्या? ऐसे तो मैं अभी बोल दूंगा he's a good
Um,
person. ऐसे नहीं होगा.
okay, so
हाँ.
he's a singer
What
who makes me cry.
he makes you cry. Okay. What about you, Suhana? Do you listen to Arjit Singh?
Yeah, I love him. So
Okay.
Arjit Singh has a very soothing voice. So yeah,
Okay. ठीक है. Sure. Okay. ठीक है. Next question is at what age do you want to retire? ठीक है. Starting with Suhana, what age do you want to retire?
45.
Okay. Richa?
I never want to retire.
Oh, why?
I read that book, no, Ikigai. You should never
Hmm.
retire. Like, नहीं तो वो will खत्म हो जाती है जीने की. And I
Yes.
like working, so yeah, never.
Makes sense. That makes sense. What about you, Shruti?
Same. I don't want to.
Okay.
But I
Cool.
would like to ask you, Kalyan.
नहीं मैं भी I have also read this book very बहुत पहले, and the whole point of doing whatever I am doing is because I love
Hmm.
doing it. So
Right.
I know कि मैं करता ही रहूँगा and I will not get bored. बस सिर्फ ये होगा कि goals change होते रहेंगे. Like अभी पैसों के लिए हो रहा है तो उस टाइम पे
Hmm.
किस चीज़ it will be creativity या maybe I am doing it to uh, uh, impress my kids or something like that. But the goal will keep changing. एंड डेफिनेटली इट विल चेंज फ्रॉम द मनी पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से. आज अगर कर रहा हूँ तो पैसों के लिए कर रहा हूँ, बट आगे क्या करूँगा उसके ऊपर डिपेंड करेगा. याद है.
Yeah, you guys should really work in a hospital.
यू गाइस शुड.
Work in a hospital.
नहीं नहीं नहीं. नहीं हो पाएगा
No,
हमसे.
8 hours of work will really make you to retire very early.
नहीं
नो
एक्चुअली
आई गेट दैट. दैट इज हेक्टिक यार.
हमने अपना मतलब सुहाना एक्चुअली हमने अपनी फिलॉसफी रिटायरमेंट नहीं लेना है ये इसीलिए किया है क्योंकि हम वो काम करें जो जिसमें हम खुश है. अगर हम हॉस्पिटल में जाएंगे तो डेफिनेटली वी वोंट बी हैप्पी. तो वी विल डेवलप अ न्यू फिलॉसफी व्हिच इज कि जल्दी रिटायर होना है. तो नहीं होना,
हाँ.
नहीं करना वैसे.
ओके. सो नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज कि कौन सा सुपर पावर चाहिए? यू वांट इनविजिबिलिटी या यू वांट सुपर स्ट्रेंथ? Which one do you want? Shruti, what do you want? Invisibility or super strength? क्या बोला? मुझे सुनाई नहीं दिया.
सुपर स्ट्रेंथ मेरे को
Super strength.
इनविजिबल.
Okay. What about you, Richa?
invisibility anytime.
ठीक है. What about you, Suhana?
I would choose super strength.
Oh, okay. ठीक है, nice. And ठीक है, next question is first celebrity crush, starting with Richa.
मैंने सुना क्या?
First celebrity crush.
Don't have a celebrity crush. And I'm not lying about it. I actually don't have a celebrity crush.
Okay.
कोई अच्छा नहीं लगता है यार मुझे. I
Okay.
like normal people around me. I have no celebrity crushes.
Okay. ठीक है. What about you, Shruti?
It's Shah Rukh Khan.
Shah Rukh Khan. Okay. Hmm. What about you, Suhana?
Salman Khan.
Oh, okay. Okay, Shah Rukh and Salman. ठीक है. चलो. And the last question for the rapid fire round is, if Voldemort, Harry Potter वाला Voldemort, if he offered you a hug, would you accept it? Starting with Shruti, would you accept a hug from Voldemort?
No.
No. Okay. ठीक है. Richa?
मैंने हैरी पॉटर देखी नहीं है. क्या ये दुनिया मुझे एक्सेप्ट करेगी?
नहीं, तुम जाओ देखो तुम जाके.
अरे
यार हैरी पॉटर कौन नहीं देखता, ठीक है, बट देखा भी नहीं. बुक्स बुक्स ही पढ़ लो, कुछ तो कर लो. हैरी
Yeah,
पॉटर.
I will. Yeah.
I am Team Richa. I haven't watched it.
अच्छा, यू. ओके. ठीक है. चलो, तुम दोनों के लिए क्वेश्चन चेंज. व्हाट अबाउट, हाउ अबाउट ओसामा बिन लादेन. सो इफ ओसामा बिन लादेन said, यार मुझे एक हग चाहिए, रिचा, वुड यू गिव हिम अ हग?
How is that a
Really
question?
sorry for this.
क्या क्या?
I will. I will.
ओके, यू विल. ठीक है. व्हाट अबाउट यू, सुहाना, वुड यू गिव ओसामा बिन लादेन अ हग?
No, never. I never do that.
ओके. ठीक है, चलो. With that, we are ending this rapid fire round, and next, Richa, you can take over.
Sure, Kalran. So Hannah, I have this next question from you. That
Mm-hmm.
Indian foods, considering Indian food, this one thali we get every night and in like lunch as well. उसमें बहुत सारा carbs होता है. And mama और
Mm-hmm.
extra oil put करती है. And we get this extra food everywhere. So do you think that Indian food actually needs this much of carbs? And also one more question adding to this, that can you please suggest some high protein or high protein dishes for every day breakfast especially?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, this is something we Indians are obsessed with carbs. Like, abhi India is known as the diabetes capital of the world. That's we have studied in our medical school. But we eat a lot of carbs. If we look at people who are of elder generations or the people who are in the 50s, 60s, if you see their carb consumption or maybe even our generation as well, we eat a lot of carbs. Okay, and the protein intake is very low. And India, we have a huge number of vegetarians as well. So it's mostly dal, chawal, roti or whatever that you're having. So it's a lot of carb for anyone, and we will in the future will see a lot of people with fatty liver because they're having a lot of carbs. People will have PCOS, thyroid. Now, in every two people, there's one person who has PCOS, or thyroid, and diabetes. So all comes down to insulin resistance. So insulin resistance is something when you having a larger amount of carbs and then your body is producing higher amount of insulin and it's not getting into your cell and it's outside your cell in your blood sugar, so that raises your blood sugar and that kind of contributes to diabetes or any lifestyle diseases. So when you're having a lot of carbs and you're not utilizing it and you're living a sedentary lifestyle, that is a problem. So we should focus on reducing a carb. Low carb diet is a great way, but again, how much of carb you should eat depends on your. It should be personalized and tailored according to you. Uh, yeah, Indian diets are very rich in carbs and very low on protein. So, coming to the second part of the question, like protein sources, rajma is a great option, and you can also have paneer. You can go for tofu. You can also include protein powder in your dietary protein if you're a vegetarian. And there are people who are vegetarian but consume eggs, so eggs are a great option if you consume it. But again, other than that, you can have curd on a regular basis. Sprouts is also a greater option. So those are the things that you can lay your hands on if you are a vegetarian.
That makes sense. And what I would like to ask you next is there is something called as macros, which people don't understand, which is of course the carbs, protein, and fat का thing. तो 1 ग्राम में कैसे होना चाहिए and everything. Can you explain that along with what is portion size?
Okay, so yeah, so macros is something that our body needs in larger quantities, is the proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. Micros are something that is required by our body when lower quantities, the vitamins and all those multivitamins and stuff. Talking about the portion size, you have to learn how to balance your plate. Like balancing a meal is something that you have to work on because every person has like different. You're from Orissa, I'm from Assam. We have different food habits as well. So we have to be very mindfully place what's on our plate. Like if we are having carbs, it should comprise up to 40 to 45% of your plate at the same time. Like you should have at least 40% of your plate should have proteins and veggies. You should include it that way, and good amount of fat. So talking about fats, the oil that you use for cooking is good. That kind of contributes to it, and you could also have almonds. So soak almonds or any nuts in the morning is a part of your fats as well. So now that's what the portion size you have to learn it. But as a normal person, you have to be very mindful of your plate, and I'll tell you a few carb options like that is very prevalent in India. It's like rice, wheat. Even though if you're having bajra ki roti, you might feel it's healthier for you, but it is at the end of the day it's carb. We find carbs come to us in various ways, like bread mein mil jata hai, and then people in some parts of it like thepla and stuff that's in Gujarat. So all of this are kind of a rich in carbs. So we have to kind of reduce it slowly, reduce karna hai, and then we have to increase protein in our diet too. The moment you increase in protein, it helps in satiety. So you'll not feel hungry for a longer period. So similarly, you have to also reduce the carbs on your plate and reduce it to 40 to 45%. In India, we see it's like 65 to 70% of the plate is of carbs. एंड मम्मी को तो लगते ही है जैसे कि रिचर ने बोला था कि द मोर यू ईट शी विल बी वेरी हैप्पी you are having it. When you're eating low, they'll be very worried that why you're not eating, might be sick. But that's not how it should be. You should focus on eating more protein rather than going for more carbs, and that is the problem in India right now.
That was very helpful. Suhana, also, what method do you recommend for determining the appropriate portion size? Like, I would love to hear your insights on finding the right balance for the same.
So for that, we have to look into a BMI, body mass index. So we have a formula for that to calculate that, and accordingly we have our formula. Let's say you range from like 21 to 23 in the BMI scale. You can go for like 1500 calories around it, and that's how you calculate it basically. So and also there are different formulas for calculating a carb intake, the protein, and your um, fat intake. So we do that. That's very into much into the nutrition and medical part. So that's not a layman person will be very comfortable in. If someone is very interested in it, they can obviously do some research and learn it. But that will be very complicated for the space. But you have to decide based on your requirements. That is a very important part. So, and again, I'll give you protein ka simple sa indicator. Let's say I am 56 kg, so let's say 53 kg. So, recommended would be um, 1 kg, like 1 gram per kg body weight. So, that is something you can start with. 0.8 to 1.5 we consider the normal requirement for protein as per your uh, body scale. So if I am 53 kgs, 53 grams of protein is something that I should eat on a regular basis. So that's how you make it in a way and learn your requirements. But the best person to decide that for you will be a dietitian or a doctor.
So, Sohana, how should one keep track of their calories? I mean, we see a lot of people talking about calories and their intake or how much a particular plate cost in terms of calories. So, how should one keep a track of it?
Uh, so, answering your question, there are so many trackers that is available on the Play Store. You can download one of them, and they already have Indian meals kit. You can just add it and you can track it that way. But it's not always about the calories because 100 grams, let's say 100 calories of jalebi, for example, or 100 calories of healthy food. So they are, from a calorie perspective, they both are the same, right? But one is healthy and the other is not. So that's one thing you have to understand and keep in mind while you are doing the calorie counting or understanding or tracking your calories. So it's not only calories that really matters, but the type of food that you're having. But if you want to track it, there's so many trackers that will allow you to keep a track of the food that you're having. I think there are so many smart watches also that helps you track the amount of calories you're having. You just have to import it, and that's how you can calculate.
That was helpful, Suhana. Also, Suhana, I would like to ask you that is it possible to indulge in one unhealthy meal per week, like without some significant consequences? Because that is something which I do, I try to avoid, but it is not possible most of the time. So I would like to know your thoughts on like whether occasional indulgence can be balanced with a healthy lifestyle or how we can do that.
Okay, so if you get some cravings and you love your favorite food, even though it might be unhealthy, once in a while is fine. But in a week, I won't recommend doing that because it, your body is a temple, what I believe in. So you have to be very mindful of what you're putting it in. But since you have kind of the other factors that also comes in, like you might be working or might not be able to afford it, it's not accessible for you, then from that perspective, yeah, once in a while it's fine. But from the overall perspective, I think we should treat our body as a temple or something that we should be very mindful about because calories in and calories out does not work in the long run. Even though you might feel that okay, once in a cheat meal will be fine, I will eat it and then work it out. But that will in the long run contribute to so many other health problems, and it doesn't work that way. So try to limit it and work on it. I think you'll be able to achieve it.
Thank you so much. And we are done with the space, but just last question that I have, and this is pretty important question I feel because our parents are getting old, and any advice on how they can meet their daily nutrition requirement? Along with the second question is around the test one should be doing in order to figure out कि कोई deficiency अगर है तो उसका पता लगाने के लिए how what kind of test one should be doing.
Okay. Talking about their requirements, old people they need good amount of proteins and good amount of fats. So protein. I know the elder peoples are very kind of not willing to give in when you talk about proteins. They might feel that, and most of them are vegetarians also. That I've noticed, people are vegetarians. So we have to kind of convince them and find something that is easily digestible by the stomach. So the digestive system is kind of compromised in the long run. When you get old, so you have to focus on preparing food and providing them with food that is easily digestible for the stomach. Then once in a while, rather than tea, you can offer them having soup. Also, you can cook it something in a very battery watery manner and then serve it to them. So those are the things that you can look into it, but you have to keep in mind the protein requirements as well because many people suffer from that, and we see a lot of different mental problems and deficiencies then involved. The most common I see is B12 deficiency, and B12 deficiency is kind of happens when you are not having enough protein in your diet. So that is very important. So test, I would say check the B12, the selenium and magnesium levels. Also, the sodium and potassium levels. Keep a check of their insulin, blood, fasting sugar, and cholesterol. So, triglycerides as well. So, those are the three things that you need to keep a check and get it routinely done.
Okay. So सुहाना, so the test you're asking, मतलब जब पेरेंट्स के लिए जो हो रहा है वो सीबीसी का टेस्ट होगा या फिर इट्स जस्ट पर्टिकुलर टेस्ट आपको B12 का करना है तो इट्स अ डिफरेंट टेस्ट ऑल टुगेदर? कैन यू एलाबोरेट ऑन दैट?
Yeah, you can do a CBC as well, but you can do it particularly on a B12 as well. But CBC is the overall thing, so you can do it if that's something. But we can also do it as a particular only B12. And the other tests that I mentioned, like fasting insulin, fasting glucose, and I think I mentioned about triglycerides and cholesterol. So those things, I think a liver profile test is something that would also you can do it. So those are the few tests that you can do it, but individually also that's available. Like B12 is also individually available.
Okay. And when it comes to diet for sorry, not diet, I would say कि exercise की बात जब आती है तो of course they cannot, if they haven't lifted weight तो वो weights नहीं उठाएंगे, but yoga, is it something that you recommend to your clients if they're at a certain age, yoga and different kind of other activities that they can?
If they are above 50 years of age, I ask them to go for walking. Other than that, yoga, if they like, it depends if they have arthritis or other problem, they can do yoga. And but if they are like very weak, like above 60 or 65, then only walking is something that we recommend, not yoga.
Okay. And about the protein intake, so उनके लिए जो whey proteins आते हैं, I can see कि lot of whey proteins out there has lot of sugar in them. So can they consume the normal whey protein जो branded वाले आते हैं, because they, these branded whey proteins doesn't have sugar in it. So can they also go for it या फिर they should go for a doctor and then doctor ने जो advice किया है वैसे वाले whey protein लेनी चाहिए? What would you say?
No, they don't need, I don't think whey protein would be great. Something that you should give them. You should try to fill it up from the food. Whey protein might lead to some stomach problems and gut issues as well. If they are not able to digest it, that might lead to other problems. So you should see if they are able to consume it or not. But you should try to fill it up from the food perspective only.
ओके। एंड बट यही है ना कि उनका अब्जॉर्प्शन बहुत कम होता है, सो इवन दो दे हैव लेट्स से 10 gram of protein, they might not have that exact 10 gram, even I cannot have that 10 gram, but उनके एज पे it will be as low as maybe 5 or 6 or lesser than that, so that is a big problem, right?
That's a big problem. But see, if you are giving them like 20 grams, you never know exact number on how much they are. You can't pick that or can figure that out. So in such case, what happens is you're feeding them like 20 grams and you're thinking that they will have like 10 grams absorption. You might push them to gout and other arthritis problem because, or it might also in some case affect the kidneys if they're having it in larger quantities. So we should not just make any random guesses that we will be able to only do it half or something because we don't know. We should try feeding them food that are rich in protein. Like every meal, try to include more protein and lesser carbs, and I think that would be sufficient for them. But if you see they in the blood reports that they have some deficiencies, then we have to put them on B12 supplements or protein supplements in the or maybe whey. But if they are not, if they do not have any deficiency in the test, I think normal food would be the best.
Mm. And adding to that, I think vitamin D has been considered as a deficiency जिसकी वजह से कैंसर होता है, and I've read in multiple reports as well, lack of vitamin D. And even though India में काफी sunrise मतलब sun का rays है and everything, but people are still very deficient on vitamin D. So is there a diet वाला thing या फिर you have to expose yourself to sun at a certain time of the day? What would you say to that, Swana?
I think it's not about how much exposure we are getting. It's more about how much we are able to absorb it in. So our generation has like very low vitamin C intake and at the same time magnesium and selenium levels as well. So if you have magnesium and selenium levels low, then even though if you sit in the sun the whole day, you won't be able to absorb that much. So that's one thing you have to work on is your magnesium and selenium levels. And once that is done, then your absorption of vitamin D will rapidly increase. And so 20 to 30 minutes in the morning in the sun would be fine.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you so much, Fana, for this lovely space. If anybody has any questions, they can ask, or they can come up and ask the question. Uh, Shruti, you want to say something? We are almost done with the space.
No, I
Shruti, your voice is not audible. Okay, I think there is some glitch. Richa, you want to say something?
Yeah, so Hannah, thank you so much for the space. All the answers were like really good, and I personally learned a lot from this space. So, really, thank you for joining us tonight and answering all these questions very patiently. It really means a lot, and I'm really looking forward to have more spaces with you.
It was lovely talking to all of you, and it was fun doing it.
थैंक यू सो
Yeah,
मच सुहाना. इट वाज अमेजिंग टू बी ऑनेस्ट. एंड हमने इतने सारे क्वेश्चंस पूछे, आपने बहुत आराम से, एंड यू हैव योर ऑफ कोर्स एक्सपीरियंस एंड यू आंसर्ड इट रियली रियली वेल. आई एम श्योर कि ये स्पेस आगे भी, बिकॉज इट्स अ रिकॉर्डेड सेशन, तो पीपल विल लिसन टू इट एंड काफ़ी कुछ सीखने मिलेगा. एंड थैंक यू सो मच सुहाना.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so with that, I think Shruti का कुछ issue आ रहा है, तो she could not. Don't think she can say anything right now. But thank you so much for being there. Unfortunately, bye bye Shruti for you. Bye bye everyone. Thank you so much for being there. Chalo. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Thank you for listening to us, and if you want to participate in live spaces, just follow our Twitter handles. हम ऐसे spaces हर हफ्ते करते हैं, and अगर आपको ये पसंद आया तो follow करना हमको and share this podcast. Thank you so much and see you next week. Bye bye.